So I hope you know what we're doing here. We're about to factor these quadratics. Now in those last examples that we looked at, this was still a 1, but this right here, this last number, the constant term, and the last one, they were plus signs. Okay, if you go back and look, all the examples from last time, they were all a plus sign right here. These are all going to be minus signs. Now, because this is a minus sign this time, we're going to say that they have different signs. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to factor this quadratic. So we're going to rewrite it in terms of its factors, or in terms of multiplication. Again, this has to be an x and an x, because x times x is the only way to get x squared. Only way to get x squared. All right, now last time we were looking for two numbers that multiplied to 28 and they added up to the middle term. This time, well, technically it still will work like that. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 28 and they add up to positive 3. But I think that's kind of weird to think of it that way. If you want to think of it that way, you can. I'm going to find two numbers that multiply to 28 and they subtract to give me 3. You probably already know what they are. Okay, it's 4 and 7. Okay. These two numbers, they multiply to give us 28, and they will subtract to give us 3. So I know it's a 4 and a 7. But because this is different signs, one of these will be plus and one will be minus. And it does matter which one. Okay, so you got to choose correctly here. So this tells us that they're different signs. This right there, that tells us that the bigger number will be positive. So 7 is our bigger number. So 7 is going to be positive, and the 4 will be minus. Okay. You could multiply this out. X times x, x times 7, negative 4 times x, negative 4 times 7, just to check it. And you will get this original. Okay. I recommend you do that. Pause the video and check that out. So this is going to be similar here. We need two numbers that multiply to 48, and they will subtract to give us 2. Okay, give that a think real quick. Find two numbers that multiply to 48 and subtract to give you 2. I'm going to use my list. Okay, so this is going to be the set of numbers that multiplies to give us 48. All right, this row, but these do not subtract to give us 2. Remember, we want them to subtract to give us the 2. See here. This subtracts to give us 8, 6, and 8. They multiply to 48, and they will subtract to give you 2. So 6 and 8. Okay, different signs. What this tells us, so this tells us that one's plus, one's minus. And this tells us that the bigger number has to be negative. So the 8 is our bigger number. It has to be negative. The other one has to be positive. Okay, this third example. Find the factors of x squared minus x minus 30, or write it in factored form. So again, it's x and an x. You could go ahead and put one plus and one minus if you wanted to. We already know that they're different signs, and the bigger number is negative. So two numbers that multiply to 30, and they subtract to give you 1. Okay, that's an implied 1 there. So for 30, it's going to be 5 and 6. Okay, 3 and 30. Wait, I think it's supposed to be a 10 right there. Yeah, it's supposed to be a 3 and a 10. Maybe I'll correct that before I put it out. 5 and 6, they subtract to give you 1. So those are our numbers, but the bigger number needs to be negative. So the 6 needs to be negative and the 5 positive. Okay. Two numbers that multiply to give us 24, and they subtract to give us 5. X and X. All right, so for 24, let's see, 2 and 12, nope, 3 and 8. Again, you can use that list there if you want to for the factors of 24. So 3 and 8, they will subtract to give us 5, but the bigger number needs to be positive. So the 8 needs to be positive, and the 3 negative. So this tells us different signs, one positive, one negative, and this tells us that the bigger number has to be positive. Okay, let's see here. Last one for these. X times X will give us the X squared. Okay, two numbers that multiply to 75 and they subtract to give you 10. 75 is not on our list. So here I go. I'm going to list them out here. 1 and 75. They don't subtract to give you 10. 2 doesn't go into it. 3 and 25 don't subtract to give you 10. 5 and 15. There it is. 5 and 15 will subtract to give you 10. Okay, doesn't matter which one you put where. The bigger number has to be negative. 15 is negative, the other one's positive. Okay, multiply it out and check your answer if you want to. That's it for this one.